All right, what's going on, guys? Try back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing another Walking Dead video for today, leading up to tonight's finale for The Walking Dead Season 9. And we have the official premiere date for Fear the Walking Dead Season 5. Alright, dudes, so today is the day. Tonight we have the last episode for The Walking Dead Season 9 premiering. Very excited to see this finale episode, The Storm. If you guys have seen, we've done lots of videos this week leading up to it. We've done picture preview, where we go through all the pictures. We've done prediction videos, discussion videos, all kinds of stuff this week leading up to this finale episode. It looks like it's going to be a great one. It's been an incredible season and a lot of fun, and I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Also, we have the premiere date set for June 2nd for Fear the Walking Dead, which is very smart move. That means that it avoids Game of Thrones entirely in terms of Game of Thrones last season. I gotta think that's why they pushed it back to a June release. If you guys remember last year, Fear the Walking Dead Season 4 premiered right after The Walking Dead Season 8 ended. So All Out War ended. We had our last episode for Season 8. And right after that, we had the crossover of Morgan directly into the Fear premiere, which was the same night. And then they went through with the 8 episodes to the break for the first half of Fear Season 4. So Season 5 going to be starting in June. Not the same type of deal as Fear the Walking Dead Season 4. But, you know, you got to avoid Game of Thrones at all costs. You don't want to compete on Sundays with them. So it makes sense. We'll see it back in June. And you know, with Fear the Walking Dead, the biggest question for me is how many people are actually going to want to watch it now and, want to actually see it. With it starting in June as well, too, the downside of that is it's pretty broken up from the finale for The Walking Dead. I'm hoping in subsequent years in the future, because Game of Thrones won't be on anymore, it'd be good if they could start it pretty much every year after The Walking Dead ends. So if you end The Walking Dead, Season 10, for example, and then the very next week you start Fear the Walking Dead Season 6 with its premiere. I think that it's smarter to do it that way in terms of momentum carrying it through. And so once Game of Thrones is out of the picture, I think that makes a lot of sense for them to do it that way. Very smart. And hopefully that's what they do, because the beginning of June is a bit of a strange time to premiere a TV show, but it's good too, because it gives us something to watch during the summer when there's nothing else on and everything. So it's not a bad thing. It's just that I do think it loses a bit of momentum since it doesn't premiere right after, but it's necessary because of Fear. There was an interview recently with Kim Dickens, March 30th, so that was just yesterday, where she says she does not expect to see Madison or Revisited, so she does not expect to see Fear the Walking Dead ever revisit Madison, or for her to kind of return for any kind of scene. So it sounds like she's kind of closed the book 100% on her time with Fear the Walking Dead. Some people have had theories that maybe she could come back. I've seen it in comments and that before, and that maybe she didn't die in that moment in Season 4. But it looks like no, that's likely not the case, and that she did, and that they're not going to bring her back pretty much no matter what. She does talk a bit about how proud she was to play the role and how much she enjoyed. I'm really proud of Madison Clark. And then she says here, I mean, to be kicking ass on a daily basis like that as a female lead of a show, it was a dream role. It was so beautifully written, I thought. It was complex. She was terribly flawed. It was great. I also love Joni Stubbs from Deadwood, and I love Detective Rhonda Boney from Gone Girl. So that was another one of her bigger roles that she had, that was the first time that I saw her was in Gone Girl, because that movie was really great. If you guys haven't seen that, it's definitely one you could watch. She's fantastic in that as a detective, so check that out if you haven't seen it. There was another one as well, too, where she said that it was kind of a shame that she died before Nick did in Fear the Walking Dead. So it just kind of sounds like all around she wasn't expecting to be killed off in Fear the Walking Dead Season 4 mid-season finale. She expected to be on longer, and she's kind of sad that it went that way. But what can you do? You got to move forward, and Fear, it's a new show now. It's a reinvented Fear. So, yeah, we don't expect to see any scenes with her in it. It'd be cool if maybe one day she could come back for a cameo or something for Alicia. I think that'd be really good, but I kind of doubt it. Next, for the original Walking Dead series, we'll move on from the Fear stuff now, because that's really all there is as far as new stuff for Fear. But for the original original Walking Dead, there is a new Negan clip. I don't know if you guys have seen it. It's kind of a sneak peek there that you can watch, which is pretty funny, where he talks to Gabriel. It'll be in tonight's episode anyway if you haven't seen it, about not being the father and about the Rosita situation with Gabriel and Sadiq and Eugene somewhere around there. So it's pretty funny. Also, Ryan Hurst, who plays Beta, talked about a Negan versus Beta showdown, and he says, quote, I mean, Negan's a charismatic cockroach. You can never get rid of that guy. Hurst told Dr. Hollywood at Pallyfest, he's going to cause trouble. He'll be around for a while. So I'm happy to hear that at least Hurst thinks that Negan will be around for a good long time. I'm hoping that JDM sticks with The Walking Dead for a long period of time, because he could be in the future. He could be really useful, considering Rick's gone, and there's not a lot of characters in that type of kind of threshold or close to the top of kind of that hierarchy there in terms of the show. And I think Negan could really be one of them that could further, like Daryl and like Carol and Michonne, kind of help lead the series on afterwards. And then it says, I love Jeffrey. Him and I have been friends for 20 years. Hurst added, him and I and Norman, we ride motorcycles all the time. So I didn't know about that. That's kind of cool. Jeffrey and I, one of my very, very first jobs, and one of his first jobs, Jag, we did together 20 years ago. Wow, that's cool. So I didn't know about that at all. So then they get into some of the parts of the comics that could be coming up between kind of a showdown between Beta and Negan, which could be cool. I love all the stuff with Beta, and as you know, we've added a couple amazing characters to this cast. I hope to God that Negan makes it to those scenes that we decide that's not going to be a part of the comic. We don't do, there's been that. I've looked forward to some storylines, and then they've come to pass. Morgan previously told Screen Rant. So about the confrontation between the two. I hope that those happen, because as a fan of the comic, I think they were very important moments, and as a fan of this character, I think they're very important for the Negan storyline. If Negan's storyline is just what we've seen so far, I'd be very disappointed, because I think there's so much more to this character. So that's great to hear. Hopefully he's he's in it for the long haul, and we can see Negan at least a few more years in the Walking Dead series would be really great, I think, for the show as a whole. So we do still have some remaining kind of comments after last Sunday's big episode 15 of The Walking Dead Season 9, because it was a colossal episode. It was a huge episode with a lot of character deaths and everything, so we can't... It's pretty much like that was the finale. I don't expect to see too many more character deaths tonight, but who knows? Maybe I'll be surprised. Chample 1524 says, Alpha versus Carol, mid-season finale, Season 10 is pretty much booked after tonight. So after killing Henry, he's saying that Carol will be the one to face Alpha and likely defeat her. So I think that'd be really cool, right? You have Carol versus Alpha, maybe you have Daryl versus Beta, so you have that's kind of interesting if you think of it that way, where you have kind of the two at the forefront of each. Like if you look at the Whisperers, their standouts are Alpha and Beta, and then all the rest kind of blend in. We don't really have any other named characters from the Whisperers. Lydia is no longer Whisperer. She's been banished by Alpha, right? So you have those two. And then on the other side, with our survivors, we have lots, because we have Michonne as well, and like we said, Negan and Eugene, and lots of other named characters. But in terms of the two that are the most standout right now, and are going to be in the next couple years, it's Daryl and Carol, right? And then Michonne's going to be leaving in Season 10. So that's pretty cool to have kind of like the way you kind of have this opposite type of thing going, where you have Alpha and Beta, and then you have Daryl and Carol on the other side. So that'll be cool to see a final kind of confrontation between the two, right? It'll be sweet. Where Michonne ends up in that, or when she leaves, or what happens, we'll have to see next year, I guess. Or maybe we'll see a little bit of that tonight via the radio. CmdRSloanne says, we also lost the new group, the Highwaymen. I too was shocked. They killed Enid, Henry, and a few of the teenagers from the kingdom. Now Alpha's days are numbered when Carol goes full out Terminator on her and the Whisperers. I was hoping they didn't kill off Judith, because then she will have to deal with Michonne and Negan. A few of the former saviors got beheaded too. Yeah, it's true. So I think the choices that they went with, it worked out pretty well. We've done a lot of discussion on that this week and everything. And it's Ratchet OMG says, Henry had so much potential. Well, he did, But at the same time, they want to make it really different, and they don't want us to kind of know where they're going with it or have a clear understanding or idea of where of which characters are safe or which characters are going to survive on longer. And they decided to really take it to us these last couple of years and really kill off some characters that we really never thought that they would. Some big twists in the show, and that's I don't know. I mean, it's still going, so I don't know if I could say it paid off, but. It's a choice, right? And we're seeing that play out now. Logan 5 says, I think Alpha has 10 to 20,000 walkers corralled in that valley. Any more would be ridiculous. I mean, overall. So, yeah, probably something like that for Logan. That number is probably pretty close. I think Greg Nicotero said once that there was supposedly 30,000 walkers in the No Way Out Season 6 story arc. If you guys remember the first episode of Season 6 to the mid-season premiere. So there was 30,000. A lot of them veered off. A lot of them continued onwards. Only a small section came over from that huge mega herd to crash into Alexandria. So don't be confused that the whole thing didn't crash into Alexandria, right? It wasn't the entire Walker herd that got there. Only a section of it, like a small portion, maybe a few thousand or something, or maybe not even that many, maybe like a really small amount. But it was still enough to knock down, a lot of things and everything, caused enough trouble for the others to cause a no way out situation. Now, if Alpha has close to that many, or 10,000 or 20,000, if they march into Alexandria like that, or the hilltop like that, it'll be like a tidal wave. They will fill every inch of that place right up to everyone's door. Everyone will be trapped in their houses, and it will just be a sea of the dead. And the only way to get out will be to basically be like the Whispers, right? You'd have to kind of use the guts trick and kind of blend in. You wouldn't be able to fight your way out in that case because there'd be just too many. They'd be neck to neck. They'd be inch to inch, all crammed up against each other, flooded in the whole place. So it could be really crazy next year in Season 10 if they do that, and we see maybe a Season 10 finale or something like that, or second half, where it's just like there's just this flooding of walkers. Let's hope that Alpha doesn't find out that in tonight's episode the survivors are going to cross into her land. Ryan Treweller says, are we not going to talk about that Rosita Tara fake out? Gabe says to Eugene, if you happen to see her, can you tell her I need to speak with her? But it shows Tara's instead of Rosita. Yeah, man, that's one of the biggest things that they've done in the last couple years in The Walking Dead. They've had lots of twists and turns. If you look at Season 7, and I know Season 7, a lot of people, they're not Season 7 fans, but going right back to the Jadis kind of turn on Rick and the others in the Season 7 finale with Negan, where she was supposedly on their side, and then she turned on him and took Negan's side instead. If you think back to that, and then afterwards, they've pretty much been doing twists and turns all the way through. Like, the series has always had twists in it, right? But it feels like the last couple years, they've really started to embrace that more and do more twists than they used to. Like, they've done that, and then in Season 8, basically the Season 8 finale, All Out War's finale was, whose side is Eugene on? Is he going to produce legitimate rounds for the weapons, or is he going to produce faulty ammunition, which causes a backfire for everybody? And that's what we found out he actually did do, and so Negan lost the war. Otherwise, Negan would have won. So right up until the final kind of battle, I guess, if you will, wasn't much of a battle, really, at the end of Season 8. It was a twist. That's what it was. It was a twist where we thought Eugene was in it with the Saviors, and then he actually wasn't, and he actually sabotaged them by making the faulty ammunition, and so they all lost to Rick and the others and were forced to surrender. And Negan loses and everything. So, yeah, they've done a lot of twists and turns. And even Carl, that's a twist because we never thought they'd kill Carl, so they do that. And then Henry, you never think they're going to kill Henry, and then they kill Henry. Right? So, yeah, man, and a lot of people even going into this episode 15, they thought Rosita would be killed off, and then it ended up being Tara instead. So I just got lucky with my prediction when I said that Alpha will kill Tara. I just kind of figured okay, she kills, or Jesus is killed by the Whisperers. Tara's in charge of there. If Tara comes down 1-1 against Alpha, Alpha's going to cut her head off, right? That's what happens. So it's just a lucky prediction, I guess. I was half joking even when I said it. So, but I kind of hope that they didn't kill off Rosita. For a time there, I thought they would, because they almost made it to where she felt like, because she was going with, different guys and stuff like that. So you can see how that could be interpreted as sort of like a Laurie type of vibe, or a situation where they make her look bad before they kill her off, so that it's not such a shock to everyone. Nobody likes her, and then they kill her off. But Rosita does have a number of fans, and Tara did too, and does, I suppose, still. But it's what it is. What can you do? Jack Oberg says, Christ, that was effing rough. Didn't want Henry to die. I actually thought he was a good enough actor to carry Carl's storylines. I think that death was a mistake. Well, it could be, because it leaves us with Lydia with basically no one and nothing to do. So we're going to have to see what they do with Lydia now. I just really have no idea. I would think that you'd want to have someone around that age category for some of those parts in the comics that Carl has had, because he still has them. But if not, I guess you could just give them to somebody else and make them a different age or something. Like, just change it even more than what they have been. And it looks like that's what they're opting to do, is change it even more. Well, we're going to see a blizzard tonight. So, all this stuff is change, right? So it's not bad stuff. And the last one will be from BJL Productions, who says, why kill off Carl and then develop Henry's character for his comic book spotlights? I liked Henry and was growing for his Carl 2.0. I didn't like this decision at all, and it makes me question the writing of The Walking Dead. Didn't like it. So some people just hated it flat out right, and they're sad that Henry's killed off, and so they didn't like that direction. Well, it's a big twist, and again, nobody expects it. So they're kind of trying to get us more and more as time goes on, right? And they are. They're doing a pretty good job of it. I thought Rick would be killed off this year. I really didn't think that there'd be the helicopter thing and all that. We kind of saw the helicopter in the promotional banners and stuff, but a lot of times it just looked like, okay, oh my God, they're going to kill Rick off. And it wasn't right up until the very last scene that we knew that they weren't, like, back and forth, and finally Jadis finds him and the helicopter and everything, so right up until the end. So good stuff. What a crazy year, and maybe in some ways keeping us on edge and having us not know what they're going to do is paying off, that it keeps the series in high anticipation, because you really don't know what's going to happen, even if you sometimes hate that they killed off Carl or Henry or whichever character. It sort of makes it so that you're really not sure what they're going to do, and you can do predictions, but they're probably going to be wrong. Anyway, that'll be it for today's video, guys. If you liked it, please thumb it up below. You can share it, you can favorite it, and check back again, of course, tonight for more videos after tonight's, hopefully awesome finale. I'm sure it will be. I'm sure it'll be an awesome last episode to the season. What a great season, man. I hope you guys had fun. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And thanks for all your support throughout the year. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for watching. And I'll see you again tonight. As always, it's Trev, and I'm saying peace. Later, guys. See you soon.